Hello, Cumbernauld. How are you ladies doing today? Good, good, good. You've enjoying the content? Yeah? All right. So mentorship. It is a brain to pick, an ear to listen, and a push in the right direction. My name is Ntsiki Mkhize, and I am super passionate about mentorship. I believe that mentorship is the tool to unlocking the very little things inside you that can lead you to your next little place or great place of greatness. A couple of years ago, I participated in the Miss South Africa competition. And I say participated, I actually entered 3 times in a row. The first 2 times I entered, I made it to semifinals and got eliminated. Woohoo. However, the 3rd time I entered, I didn't place. And after not placing, I was like, man, I thought this was gonna be the year, Like, I worked out, I was praying, I went for a fast for like an entire month because, God is good, and I wanted a great body. And nothing happened, right? And the ladies had said to me, you know what, we'll call you at the end of November. And so I'm waiting for my phone call. November comes, November's going. It's the last Monday in November, and a girl that I knew from modeling circle sends me a message, and she says, hey, did you watch said show yesterday? Apparently they announced some of the semifinals. And I said, okay, some. That means they're still calling us, right? And then Wednesday she sends me another message, and she says, oh, all the semifinalists are on Facebook. I guess we didn't make it. And I thought to myself, probably, but I believe in the power of words. And in this moment, I knew I could either decide to affirm what she was saying or respond by what I wanted to happen. So I messaged her back and I said, good luck to you. I'm still waiting for my phone call. And I'm pretty sure she thought I was crazy, except November is ending on Sunday. And that Friday, I got a phone call from the Miss South Africa office saying, hey, Ntsiki, we just called to find out if you have any tattoos. And I was like, no, I don't. And they're like, fabulous. 3 girls at judging today turned out to have tattoos, so they've all been eliminated, and you have the next high score. Can you come? I was like, can I come? My bags are packed. Like, I'll be there tomorrow. So literally, I went from not being anywhere in the competition to being recalled into the competition to making it to finalists, to top 5 on the stage that night when they ask you the questions, to top 3. And I was crowned Miss South Africa's 2nd princess for 2015. Thank you. And that was fantastic, except for some reason, weirdly, everybody on social media just thought I landed in this wonderful lap of success, right? And for me, success is not one particular point. Success is a journey. Success is the journey you take to the goals that you've set, and it's the wonderful things you learn along the way. And I want to remind people of that because I think sometimes we find ourselves in a position where unless we've got that dream job or that particular title or that particular car, or we live in this neighborhood, or our husband looks like that, or our kids are super perfect, then we haven't become successful yet. But life is a journey, and we're continuously moving from one point to the next, and success looks like different things at different times in your life. And so I was inundated with all these messages from young girls on social media, and they were like, hey, how did you become successful? And I was like, I don't know, right? And so I sat down and I thought about it. So I was like, hey, how did I become successful? And I looked back over my life and I realized that my life was colored with lessons that I'd been learning from people since a young age. As a young girl, I was always inquisitive, and I was always the one to ask why, even when the conversation was done. I was always the one to ask why, even though children were not allowed to participate in the conversation. I was always the one to ask why, even though I promised I'd sit quietly and say nothing. And I realized that all my whys had given me tons of answers that I had in the back of my mind that just kind of helped me figure things out. It wasn't just this knowledge and this desire for knowing more and finding out things, but I had always gone out deliberately to find out stuff. If I saw somebody who I thought was doing really well, I would ask them questions. How did you do it? How did you become this? How did you become that? And when I was in varsity, all the more. When I decided to become an entrepreneur, all the more. And so I realized that along my journey, I had a lot of lessons that I had learned. And so I compiled these lessons into a book called My Hall of Mentors, Lessons Learned along a journey of success, because along this particular journey of my life, I'd learned different things from a number of different people, from my parents, who, even though I didn't listen when I was younger, I must now admit, I really value their lessons, including my grandmother. And some people are CEOs of companies that I've gone up to and said, hey, I really like how you're doing this, could you teach me? And some of them are just lecturers that I've had at university and thought, that's wonderful. One of my mentors is a friend I started a business with, and even though we almost killed each other, I definitely learned a lot from them, right? And so mentors could be anywhere in your life. Some of them are formal relationships, and some of them are informal relationships. And I started writing this book for myself because I didn't want to forget. During my year as Miss South Africa's Second Princess, I was meeting people I knew I would have never had the opportunity to meet before. And some of the stuff they were teaching me was kind of irrelevant at the time. Like, I remember being in a conversation with a gentleman who was giving me advice about, well, when you buy a boat. And I thought, you know, my bank account doesn't look like I can buy a car. Never mind a boat, right? But I was like, I'll write that down in case I decide to buy a boat one day, right? And there was other things that I just wanted to read back on in the future and say, remember you learned this lesson, and it's really good. But also in the process of doing that, I wanted to share the lessons I had learned with other people, especially younger people, to say, hey, here's some stuff that I think you can use along your journey of success to help you accomplish a few milestones in your life. So the 3 lessons I want to share with you from my book is on delayed gratification, the myth of work-life balance, and creating your own luck. When it comes to delayed gratification, one of my mentors that I met is a jewelry designer and businesswoman in South Africa by the name of Jenna Clifford. And I remember when I met Jenna, I was studying full-time, I was working full-time, and I was trying to pay off a couple of things, like my car and a house that I had bought and my student loan. And Jenna was like, listen, you're going to meet tons of people, and they're going to be buying new clothes, they're going to come to school in these kinds of cars, you guys are going to graduate, and they're going to buy places in the nicest neighborhoods, and you're going to feel like, I want to do that. Don't. Your journey doesn't look the same as anybody else's. So delay whatever little things you want right now for a later date when you know you'll finally get what you're working on. And I find that even as a young adult, delayed gratification shows up a lot in my life. When I left home now 4 months ago, I was on a really good momentum when it came to my career as an entrepreneur. And I was quite nervous about jumping away and leaving the momentum to come and do my master's in social innovation. But because I know what I want to accomplish with my master's when I go back home, for me that decision makes sense, even if it doesn't for the next person. So your life looks like it does for you. And the light at the end of the tunnel is relevant for you. And I promise it's not a speed train coming for you, even though it might feel like it sometimes. So I'm challenging you to think about the different ways you can delay some form of gratification in your life right now to lead to greater gratification later on. The second lesson is around work-life balance. Another mentor that I met was during my second time that I did Miss South Africa, and although I failed by the standard of wanting to win the competition, I won greatly by meeting her. I remember being in workshops thinking, if anything, the reason why I'm here is to meet Koo Govender. And Koo Govender is the CEO, she's the successful businesswoman, she's a wife, she's a mom, we share the same faith, she's really active in the community, and I was like, she's everything I want to be, this is great. And so I met with her and I was like, could you please be my mentor, right? Because I was like, that's where I want to be when I'm older. And we went through this list of a life pie and finding work-life balance in these things. Now, ideally, this pie is super perfect because all the segments are equal. But life doesn't work like that. Sometimes one segment of your life pie is a lot bigger than another one. Whether it's you've just had a new baby and that's taking up bulk of your time, or if you're, I just got engaged, so that's taking up a bulk of my time. Whatever it looks like, right? But your balance is different, and it's unique to a particular season in your life. And what Koo said to me is, remember there's a difference between a glass ball and a rubber ball. In life, there are things that are a glass ball. If you drop these particular things at any point in time, they'll break, they'll shatter, and the chances of putting those together again is highly slim. There are other things, however, that are a rubber ball, and these are the things that if you happen to drop them in a particular season in your life, they will bounce back. A week later, a month later, a quarter year later, a couple of years later. The point is they will bounce back. And it's not about are the segments equal sizes? It's about how are you juggling the things that you consider to be a glass ball and the things that you consider to be a rubber ball. If you're in a season in your life and what you're focusing on right now is the rubber ball, that's perfectly fine. Rubber ball things are valid. Rubber ball things need to get done. Just be mindful that while you're focusing on your particular rubber ball, that the glass ball that's currently in the air doesn't slip through your fingers. And for me, I find this lesson to be really valuable when I'm thinking about making big career decisions or study decisions, that there's no pressure to have it perfect. There's no perfect configuration that looks like anybody else. Your formula is unique to you. And what looks like success right now could just mean getting out of bed and making it to the first meeting on time. Doesn't necessarily always have to be, I'm a millionaire and it's great, right? But define that for yourself because that is unique to you and the current season that you're going through. And the third lesson is around creating your own luck. This is a lesson I learned from Christoph Oosthuizen, and I met Christoph while I was in varsity. A friend of mine and I decided to start a business to inspire entrepreneurs, and we were launching what we called the world's first ever entrepreneurship comic book, and it was going to be great. And in the process of trying to publish this comic book, we called literally every single publication in the country, just to find out if they would carry a little bit of the comic strip. And that's how I met Christoph, who's a publisher and business coach. And after meeting Christoph, he was like, I like your energy, you're fire, this is great, let's chat. And so I found myself every Tuesday on my lunch break doing a telecon and getting some free business coaching on the phone. And while talking to Christoph, Christoph said to me, you know, while you're working on stuff in life, your effort, your networking, all of those things, you're creating your own luck. Not everything falls into place perfectly when you want it to, but your effort of building a network, your effort of doing the work and has gathered all the expertise that you have up until now, all those little things put together, those things create luck. As Oprah says, that success is when the right amount of preparation meets the perfect opportunity. And I'm curious to know from you if you've prepared enough for that opportunity you claim you want. If it showed up right now, if I had to write you a blank check, do you know what to do with it? So be mindful that in life you're constantly an active participant in creating your own luck, and you can. And the last thing that I want to bring to mind is that you need to be deliberate about showing up in your life. You need to be an active participant in your life. Life doesn't just happen to us. Yes, there are things that are outside of our control, but there are things that you can manage. There are things that you can influence. And of those things that you can influence, think about your thoughts. What are you constantly saying to yourself? As you think, you become. Our words do create our world. So think about what you're saying. When people ask you about a particular dream, when people ask you about, hey, how's that project going? I could have easily told that girl, yeah, I'm sure they're not going to call us. We'll try again next year. But I was very deliberate about my words because I truly believe that our words create our world. So I want you to think about what are your thoughts and what are your words. Audit that. And are those two things in alignment with the kind of life you claim that you want? And if not, change it. Be deliberate about changing it. Our thought patterns are wired in because that's how we were raised or we were taught to believe a particular thing, and that's fine. But some of the things we believe in simply don't serve us. So challenge your belief system, challenge the things that you do, challenge the things that you strongly hold on to, and ask yourself, are these things actually helping me create the life that I want and believe I deserve? And if not, be bold enough to go on and change those things. Finally, I'd like to close off with these words by Steve Jobs, that sometimes when you're working, when you're doing stuff in the process of networking and all of those things, it just kind of feels like I have no idea where I'm going. And Steve Jobs says that in the end, the dots connect. And I'd like to add to that, instead of shooting in the dark, find yourself a mentor who can help you make the dots connect. My final challenge to you is that if you don't have a mentor, go find one. It doesn't have to be someone who's super successful and completely out of reach. It could be someone within your network who just happens to be doing one particular thing in life a little better than you, who can help you highlight your journey. My second request to you is, you know a lot. Sitting here right now, there's stuff you know that 16-year-olds would be like, what? Go find that 16-year-old, that 21-year-old, that 25-year-old, 30-year-old, however it is. Find someone and teach them what you know. Be a mentor to them. And you'll be amazed the trajectory that you could help somebody take in their lives just by sharing the knowledge that you currently possess. Thank you.